Nick and I have known each other a long time, about a little over 7 years now, I think it is. And Nick is an awesome, fantastic bass player, working musician, but he also has a new single out now, which is on Spotify and iTunes and all that fun stuff. You can go and check it out. The song is called Into the Wild, and it is by the artist that is known as Diiorio.
That's right.
And here we are on part 2.
Hey!
We're getting back in the saddle.
We're
again,
there.
man. We're doing it.
We're
doing it, man.
Okay.
Here's how we're going to do it.
Just pull over. You can't pull over any further.
Now listen here. I want to know how you recorded that song, and tell me a little bit about Into the Wild. Because I listened to it, and it's phenomenal. It's really good. It's really, really good. I'm very impressed.
It's
very proud of you.
Man, okay, so here's the backstory. So I wrote that song about 2 years ago, probably. Me and Natalie were driving back from visiting my parents up in Petaluma, California, just north of San Francisco. Driving back, we're driving over the Grapevine, and I'm driving, and it's a beautiful landscape over the Grapevine. You know, especially after it rains, it's all green and it's beautiful, and so we're driving over that, and I don't know, I just had like the beginning. If you listen to Into the Wild, which is just look up on this post, you'll be able to see the link to listen to the song. Yeah,
I'm going to have all that in there for if you're just listening to this, the link is going to be on iTunes. If you're watching it on YouTube, the link will be on there.
iTunes, Spotify.
It'll be all on there.
So the beginning kind of riff, it just kind of came into my head while we were driving.
You wrote the opening guitar line?
I honestly it just came into my head while I was driving, and I started writing the song while we're driving, and we're playing. I think we were playing like 21 Pilots or something, listening to something, Alt J maybe. I'm like, I was like, I need to turn this off, babe, for like the rest of the 40 minutes before we get home, because I had this just in my head, the beginning riff, and I was like, I started writing like in my head while I was driving, pretty much the first verse and the chorus just kind of came to me.
No way.
Out of nowhere. So as soon as I got home that night, I dropped her off at her place just before we were living together, and I was like, I'm gonna go home and record this. And I sat down there for like hours and I literally wrote the whole song that night.
No way.
Yeah. Just wrote it all. And it's about 80% the same. I had, in the second verse, originally, I had like a 21 Pilots, like rap.
Oh, really?
Spoken word verse, which I loved, and Natalie loved because I wrote it about her, of course.
Oh.
But it was very 21 Pilots,
a little too close.
Yeah.
You had to kind of let it go.
It was a little too much, and the more I listened to it, the more I was like, it just didn't fit.
Right.
So I sat down with David Allen, did the drums, and I showed him that, and he was like, I don't know about this part, and a couple of people I showed to, they were like, it's kind of takes me away from the song.
Right.
So when I sat down with Caleb with it, I had originally Caleb Hewlin, who produced, mixed, and mastered the song and did amazing guitars.
Yeah.
We were just kind of sitting there. He's like, you know what? Why don't we just kind of switch up the second verse? Why don't you take the first verse and just do the same lyrics? Because a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
With songs. But we're just going to make that second verse just more interesting.
Oh, okay.
Put some guitars in, make the drum beat a little bit different, and kind of set it up for that second chorus, which is a little bit,
bigger,
better,
right.
And then kind of ends off with the Into the Wild theme at the end.
Yeah.
So it's I wrote that song 2 years ago, and finally to have it mixed, mastered. I redid all vocals. We redid guitars. Luckily, the bass and a couple other things on that was still good. So I didn't have to. So yeah, we finally just sat down and fucking hashed it out. And
it's a very, it's a very like cinematic song. Like the second I heard it, I mean, and of course, like when I took a look at like the title of it, and I got a chance to like listen to it. I was like, I kind of had an idea of like what to expect, but I think you did a great job of like capturing exactly what you just said as far as like where the song kind of stemmed from, what inspired you to write it. And the second you hear it, it does take you into this like travel kind of a feeling. Like if you were on the road, whether you're on the road to Vegas or you're going up to PCH or you're driving cross country. And it's kind of a very good, like I immediately just made me think of that adolescence kind of like late teens, early 20s. Let's just fucking go with the clothes on our backs into the wild, that kind of whole metaphor. You did a good job of like, you guys all did a good job of like capturing that whole thing. And it's a really well written song. I love it, man.
Yeah, I think it was kind of obviously perfect timing because we are in quarantine. We have not a lot to do right now. And it's, you know, it's a very uplifting, inspiring song.
Yeah.
To kind of help people get through what they're getting through right now, and it kind of applies to everything.